Health anxiety is one of the most challenging, ruminating, intrusive thoughts that you can face when stuck in the anxiety cycle. For me, I struggled with health anxiety long before the onset of my full-blown panic disorder and would attribute it as one of the major causes in the first place. In this video, I'm going to break down what health anxiety is and why it's so difficult to manage. Also, I'll give you the techniques that I use to beat it. If you appreciate my content, like, subscribe, and check out the link to my book in the description. One of the biggest challenges of health anxiety is the fact that it is not irrational at its core. Since complications with our biological systems are quite common and in many ways inevitable, it can be difficult to distinguish between legitimate medical concerns and symptoms from those generated by the anxiety, as they are oftentimes very similar. Especially as you age and develop actual coinciding health problems. So my advice would be to have each symptom thoroughly investigated by a physician before dismissing it as anxiety. Then, after identifying which symptoms are persistently non-emergent, spend time familiarizing yourself with those specific symptoms until you can identify them with total confidence as simply physical manifestations of the anxiety. For years, I suffered intrusive thoughts pertaining to health fears, heart attack, blood clot, stroke, etc. But at its core, it all came down to a fear of dying, and more specifically the process of dying at the moment of death. So when I would face this fear through visualization, I would really imagine the sensation of death as best I could. The panicked breathing, the struggle and pain, suffocation, a feeling of slipping helplessly into the dark unknown. Really trying to make it as vivid and unpleasant as I could in my mind, facing the worst of the worst possible scenario. And at first, it was awful. It drove my panic symptoms to such intense levels that I feared they would kill me for real. But just like watching a scary movie that loses its effect with each subsequent viewing, instead of the fear that I initially felt, I'd begin to notice the plot holes, the bad acting, and cheesy special effects, until my experience was that of dull detachment and eventually boredom, so much so that my mind would lose interest and drift to different topics. The intrusive thoughts are no different regardless of how unbearably terrifying they initially seem. And with enough repeated exposure, your mind can't help but to become bored with them. That's the essence of desensitization. Once you feel thoroughly desensitized to a particular fear, move on to the next one down the list. And if new fears emerge as intrusive thoughts, follow the same protocol over again. It's not uncommon for some of these intrusive thoughts to resurface later as ruminations. This shouldn't concern you. Just apply this approach again as needed. Furthermore, the use of e-stim therapy, as I discussed in my previous video, is greatly beneficial during desensitization sessions. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future content.